Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Let's see if I can see myself there so I know that I'm on. Let's put this over here. So who do we have here? We have Luna. Hello, Luna. Luna says, Salam, dear Mehran. Salam, Luna John. Says, I'm first to, to the mark. Yes, you are today and feeling shaft. I gotta learn that word. What does shaft mean? So feeling shaft. Versus so feeling. I guess it means great. Must be one of those British words. Never heard. Luna says, كيفك اليوم? شكرا تمام. Luna John. I don't know what John dear means it sounds like in Arabic, but I tried. Female 36 UK, thank you for that. Jeremy Bailey. Hello, Jeremy. This is male 37 UK. Hello, Luna. Oh, you're saying hello to Luna, and I thought it was for me. So obviously, I'm at disadvantage. So good of you to be here. And Rolling On says, Hi, Mehran. How are you doing? Thank you, Rolling On. Says, good you be here. Okay, good to be here. I think T and Y are close to each other. Good of you to be here. And male 34, Texas. Hee-haw. And lovely Lily is here, is female 29, Pakistan. And says, Salam. Assalamu alaikum. She says, dear Mehran. And what is the response? Assalamu alaikum. Salam. Okay. Assalamu alaikum. I guess the same. And thank you very much, lovely Lily. Jeffrey is here. Jeffrey's from Toronto, no? Let's see. Jeff, male, 33, Toronto. Yes, Toronto. Thank you very much, Jeffrey. Good of you to be here. And Jeremy says, haha, yeah, because you pulled a Yui on me in a way. I thought it's for me. And I said, oh yeah, Jeremy says hello. There you go. Luna beat me. Of course. Of course. So, that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. We're 12 people, 5 people saying hello. Where's the rest of you guys? And it's 12 people, 12 concurrent viewers and 6 likes. Really? Luna says yes. Shuft is an anglified version of saying feeling good about myself. Ah, thank you. Learned something new. Shuffed. You know how funny it is? Some things mean something in one language and mean something totally different in another language. I remember it was long ago, there was a product apparently coming from Hawaii. And it was a seasoning that you would put on any kind of a food, salad, meat, whatever, it would make taste it better. Like you put salt and everything, but this thing was a different spice apparently. But the name of it was Shuffit. But not in the F, it was shove it. It was F, but actually it meant something totally different in a different language. And it was really funny as they would advertise on TV. Don't worry, just shove it. That's the meaning was what it was. Shuff it. So anyhow, I remember there was a study we did the teacher was talking in university that at the time Exxon Valdez, it was a different company, but then they changed $1 million, which was, God knows, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, to make sure that the new name they're coming up for, which is Exxon, would mean nothing in any language. Because the problem at the time was that you can make a good name for some product or some company, and then it would mean something derogatory in another nation's language. Just like what we were talking about right now. So they spend $1 million to make sure that Exxon means nothing in any language in the world. And so here we have a new word, schaft, which it has its own connotation in different language. Hiwa Jawahiri. That must be from Pakistan as well, am I right? It says, hi, what's about for mate? Mate, your last name sounds Middle Eastern, but you seem to be from Australia. No? Am I mistaken? Anyhow, welcome. Well, you can see the title. It's about breakups, intrusive thoughts, OCD, HOCD, and things to do with, how to move on from a breakup, relationships, things to do with the psyche, thoughts, consciousness, fear, desire, ego, and all that. And whatever makes us tick or tick too much. That's what we're talking here. Lovely Lily says, Assalamu alaikum. Answer is, wa alaikum. Yeah, there it is. That's what I was looking for. Alaikum assalam. Yeah, that's right. I knew it, but the rhythm wasn't there. I couldn't, because I knew salam comes wa alaikum assalam. Now, if somebody says salamun alaikum, yeah, that's the part I'd forgotten. And Luna says, I like it when you refer to me as John. It's endearing, Mehranjan. So that has the same meaning in Arabic as well, does it? Or because you know some Farsi? Or is it international language? Yeah, John means dear. Actually, the roots of that word means life, John. John a man. My John, and John means life. And then you say to your loved ones, parents, friends, children, spouse, John, meaning dear. Like, I think same meaning for Aziz. Johnam, Azizam, my dear, something like that. And Jeffrey says, I never got bored of hearing about Exxon Valdez because it reminds me to not fall asleep. Look. What does that mean? I'm kind of lost, but it's fun. Yasin says, oh, dear Mehran. Hello, Yasin. How are you? Don't forget about the protocol. Gender, age, where are you tuning in from? Because I don't remember everything. Remember? I don't remember everything. All right. And Yasin says, 1 year now since first found the channel, to all of you who suffering breakups and can't handle it. Just pay attention to what Mehran have to say and practice it. So that means, Yasin, you're out of the woods. And delighted to hear that. And she's Anand says, can you explain the T model? T model? What do you mean? You mean the tea that I drink? Or what do you mean, tea model? Luna says, no, we don't have John in Arabic. It's because I know 1 or 2 Farsi words from my late mother. Oh, I see. Oh, your mom is not with you anymore. She's not with us. Sorry to hear that, dear. When did that happen? All right. right. Yasin says, especially the ego. Jeffrey says, because the guys steering it hadn't gotten good sleep, and that's what led to the oil. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I remember now. That was a few years back. Oh, yeah, the big one. Oh, yeah. That was a while ago. The disaster, yeah. Jeffrey says, because, yeah. Chinmay says, good day, Mehran. Sir, 18 male India. Hello, Chinmay. Says, there is a girl who claimed to love me romantically. I did not feel the same, but I did develop a soft corner for her. She shared her problems and I consoled her, all right? However, I was made aware by someone trusted that she is just fooling around for attention. I'm frustrated because this person wasted my time, which I could have rather invested in project and work. Come on, you're not that busy, so don't make a big deal out of it. So a girl confided in you, she was fooling around to get attention, whatever. Were you helping her because you were expecting something? You were helping her for the goodness of your heart, no? And if that was the case, then what do you care if she was fooling around or she really meant it? You helped her. You had good intentions. If she didn't, or if she wanted to get attention, that was her need. So whether she needed help in other facets or other tangents that she was hoping to get from you by you consoling her, whatever the situation was that she was saying about, or whether the real problem was that she wanted to get attention, you wanted to help, no? So you helped her. That what you did gave her the attention that she was looking for, if that was her intention. So what's wrong with helping her in that way? You wanted to help her, so you helped her, one way or another. It's not a big deal. And Jahangir Ishnazarov. Jahangir is a Farsi name, Persian name, but Ishnazarov could be Russian, could be Kazakh. I'm not sure where that's coming from. So that's why I asked you guys, don't forget the protocol. Gender, age, where are you tuning from? Otherwise, I won't answer the question. I'll pass on. And Jahangir says, I really appreciate your work. Recently, I found your channel, and there is a lot of helpful videos to overcome some challenges. Thank you very much, sir. You're quite welcome, Jahangir. Let me know your gender, age, and where you're tuning in from. Wow, that's pretty hot. And she says, thoughts, emotions, actions, model. Oh, T model. Thoughts, emotion, actions, model. Who came up with that? Thought, emotions, actions. Well, doesn't have to have emotion before thought becomes an action. And thought is an emotion. So you see, it's the cycle starts. Let's say a caveman came out of the cave a million years ago and was hungry, let's say. So he saw, I don't know, a tree there with apples on it or cherries, goes toward the tree, slips, hits his knee, or twists her ankle on a rock, puts her foot weirdly on a rock, twists and falls and hits his ankle to the ground. That action, that action of falling, putting on the rock wrongly and twisting, falling, that action gives him an experience. That experience turns into a knowledge. From that experience, there's a knowledge about what happened. Or if he's going up the tree to get the cherry, puts his foot on one of the branches, maybe too soft or too brittle or too small or too narrow, breaks, and then he falls. That action gives him an experience. That experience gives him a knowledge about how things went. And that knowledge is stored in his memory. And few other things happens that it does action, it gets experience from that experience, knowledge, also recorded in the memory, because we record 24/7. And from that gathering of knowledge, information in the consciousness, in the memory, a thought, a new thought is born. That thought now is followed by an action. Because the thought that he was hungry, thought that he wanted to have cherry, caused him to have an action, go toward the cherry tree or climb it, and then fall. The experience, the knowledge comes into the memory, and then from all these gatherings of information in the consciousness, the memory, new thoughts are born. And then again, action, experience, knowledge, and recorded in the memory. And then new thoughts are born. So that's the cycle of it. So it doesn't have to be emotion. Yeah, if you're hungry, you have the emotion, the sensation of hunger, but still your action, the thought of, and doesn't necessarily have to have an emotion in the middle of thought and action. And Jahangir says, I'm Uzbek. Yeah, there you go. I was close, somewhat. So where are we now? And Jeffrey says, I dreamt of my ex last night again. I was wondering if I could hide my, what? Hide or chide? Oh, hide, I guess. Okay. Chide has no meaning. Hide my subconsciousness. Hide your subconsciousness? If I could hide my subconsciousness. I don't understand that, Jeff. Jeff Mail 33 Toronto. Okay, thank you for that. Yeah. But I don't understand the question. Maybe you can rephrase it. Aman says, hello, Marin. Hello, Aman. Guys, remember, I know of your screen names, but I don't remember exactly, age and where you're tuning in from. So do me a favor, just put in your gender, age, and where you're tuning in from with every question. With every question, just three things. M33 UK. That's it. Female, 39, I don't know, Australia, wherever. That gives me something to go by when I want to address you. And Luna says, thank you, Maranjan. Mama passed away in 2016, so recent. But as you know, the loss of a parent can never quite be gotten over. Yeah, I know. I've got my dad's picture on the wall, 2011. It's just that we get used to not thinking about them, because since childhood we are conditioned to accept the concept of death. From the beginning we are told, we understand somehow from what's going on around us that people die naturally, old age. And so we have that program. So when it happens, it really hits us hard. But then somehow we have allowed it to be something acceptable. So we kind of stop thinking about it, or somehow, because we know there's no amount of crying or thinking about it could bring them back. So we kind of know that there is no result from that effort of sadness and attention to the event. Yeah. All right. And she says, mashallah, she was a wise and forward-looking woman in her time. Much of what you teach and guide us in here about life reminds me of my upbringing and parents' values. This is one reason as to why I look up to you and am loyal to my self-development. I have much love and respect. I thank you very much, Luna. And I love you too. And I understand that there are so many differences and changes in the values since everyone's childhood. World changes, things changes. Most things are changing their values to what it was and how it was measured to money, which in fact then everything of that caliber and echelon is being devaluated through time, through our journey of life, and we are witness to that. When I was a child, there were so many things clear and so many things set in a certain way, and everybody would adhere to it. Nowadays, if you can get away with it, you would. Like somebody has to watch you to make sure you do something right. In the olden days, in some ways, many things were wrong, and in some ways, many things were right. People had certain kind of a conscious and belief to do the right thing, to be wholesome, to be gracious, to be righteous. But now it has to be an enforcer, laws, and policemen, and investigation, and things are not necessarily coming from a heart that it used to. Certain traditions, certain behavior, certain understanding of what is wrong, what is right, was all clear. Now it's all, as long as it makes money and gives you money, then it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong or what is right and wrong. And now we get accustomed that there is no right or wrong. So everything goes. Who came up with that? There is no right and wrong, and that's why we're in such a deep shit as we are today. There is no right and wrong because they want to say everything is equal. Woman is equal to man, man is equal to woman. Relationships don't mean anything. All relationships is a go, and all are the same. I mean, you can do whatever it is you want to do in your life. It's up to you. Nobody else's business. Whether whatever you do with your body, whatever you do in your relationships, what kind of relationships, all your own personal preferences and nobody else's business. But trying to also force it on other people that every relationship is the same and same equal value and the same purposes, it's not true. You know? It's not true. Simply not true. They're trying to portray that anything goes, and it's your right. You can have anything goes as you wish in your life. Nobody's business what you do in your own home, with your own body, with whoever you choose to be with. But trying to force it upon everybody to agree and think that everything is okay to try, and everything and every relationship is the same roots and same reasons, same motivation, is wrong. As some relationships have the motivation of procreation for survival of our species. And there are other relationships that its motivation cannot be procreation because it cannot procreate, but it's for pleasure. But that's preference of those people, and it's up to them. Nobody else's business. We're all equal. But because we're equal, we should also be truthful about what is the same or what is not the same. This is T, is very important to me, and this is the remote control, same thing, very important to me. And they have same great values, but they're not the same. Their purposes are not the same. So I cannot want to force you to think that my remote control is the same as my tea. It would be kind of, why are you doing that? Why don't you allow things to be what they are, and they're appreciated, and it's your rightful, it's your right to, you know, experience what you want to experience. But why would you want to make it seem like as if it's all the same and same value and same motivation, same roots, same purposes? It doesn't. That's why they have now turned the whole sacred idea of inclination and experiences and interests into pleasure based. And as long as you want to try it, try it. There's no reason. Look, if you are interested in certain thing, that's your preference and you are built that way and you're interested in that kind of a relationship. But if they're trying to promote that everybody should try that any kind of relationship, that's not good role modeling for children or for other people or for the balance of the society to respect that relationships mean something. If everybody's supposed to try anything and nothing means anything and everything should be just for the sake of pleasure and trying, then how could you call some relationship, regardless of what kind of relationship it is, special? Because you say, well, I don't know if they really like each other, they're really built that way, or they just want to try and have pleasure. That kind of takes away from the whole value of a relationship, as if it's portrayed that anybody should try it. Who cares? Regardless of what your inclination is, you got to try everything. That's nonsense. That takes away from the speciality of a certain relationship, regardless of what your gender inclination is. Every relationship that is coming from the heart, and that is how you're programmed, that's who what your gender is special. But by turning it into just something that anybody should try, you take away that speciality, regardless of what kind of relationship or inclination or gender base it is, out of it. And that's why I'm saying the ideas since old times, they don't have the same purposes, same meanings anymore. It's just like, try anything. Doesn't matter if you're interested or not. Doesn't matter if you have that inclination, if you have that seriousness in that your action. Just try it. Try it. Why not? This why not business is why turning everything to hell, because nobody really knows why they're doing what they're doing. The purposes are put aside and the pleasure has become a purpose. And that's the problem. I don't care what kind of a gender you have, what kind of a inclination you have, what kind of a relationship you're interested in. They're all equally important. And it's everyone's right to follow their programming, their gender, their heart. But turning life into try anything, doesn't matter, takes away from the speciality of that relationship, the purpose of that relationship, the roots of that relationship, the sacredness of that relationship, and the value of that relationship, because it's no longer for a certain purpose of bonding or getting to know each other's consciousness or having a partner in life. It's now about pleasure. Try it. Who cares? Whatever. Doesn't matter what your gender is. Just go try it. This is how it's being portrayed, which takes away from the importance and specialities of all other people and their inclinations, because it's turning it into, doesn't matter if you are or not, try whatever. So that's the difference between now and in the past. There were, care for the kind of selection and the actions that people would be taking. Right now, it's just like whatever. Anyhow. Yasin says, yes, I am. Oh, when I said that, I'm delighted you're out of the woods. Thank you. Male 27 Morocco. Thank you for that, Yasin. Lovely Lily says, really sorry to hear about your mom, Luna, dear. Ah, true. Very true. I didn't know that. 2016 is just a few years back. All right. Chinmei says, thank you, sir. I feel better now. So simplified. Good. Jeffrey says, I feel sad it won't be a regular Christmas this year. I wonder if I'm childish. No, you're not childish. Christmas is one of the best times of the year. And, different countries have different ceremonies and celebrations, whether it's religious or whether it's traditional for New Year. But in this neck of the wood, Christmas is so special and so needed to feel good. People kind of, it's like a tranquilizer that everybody is now have it injected automatically just by the season. Everybody kind of calms down and becomes more gracious, becomes politer and smiling face and take care of each other, open the door. And I wonder, why the hell not all throughout the year be like that, behave like that, be kind to each other, smile and be courteous and cordial. Why does it have to be Christmas? But nevertheless, it is, and it's wonderful. And this year, yeah, you don't get that buzz, the shopping and all that whole spiritual mode and so on. That's a pity. Damn, this is hot. Ouch. I always make that mistake. It seems so good before I actually try it, but when it comes through these little holes, you see how hot it was. So, I won't be able to talk that much. And Luna says, teach and guide us in here about life reminds me. Oh, yeah, we talked about that. It was about your beloved mom. Jahangir says, I saw your video, how to stop thinking someone who broke up. It is really helpful. Good, Jahangir. Glad to hear that. Jeffrey says, oh shoot, I meant chide my subconscious. The same misspelling is happening on your correction. You mean hide, I think. Aman says 19 male India. Patrick is here. Where have you been, man? Glad to see you here. Patrick says, hi Mehran, thank you for everything you've done the last 5 years. I've finally found the girl that I never thought I would. Aha, that's my boy. Good for you. I shall check in soon. Have a great day. Delighted that you shared that. I saw some of your pictures on the Facebook with your new girlfriend. It's a long time now. But, I thought you have found a new relationship. And I'm glad that you have shared it. Delighted to hear that. Good. Be good to yourself and to her. And then Delegani says, Mehran, 23 male London. Do you believe aliens exist? Yeah, I do. Definitely. I mean, how could they not? If they say, if universe is as big as they say, which is like, I don't know, God knows how many billions and billions and trillions of stars and planets in there, and the rule of universe being what it is on this earth, so that rule only happens to this earth, nowhere else? This whole universe is wasted that we can't even get to most of it. Just for us, just 8 billion people, that's it? This civilization, this primitive civilization, primitive culture, primitive mental abilities, primitive structure, the structure that right here, its computer system malfunctions to the point that we get all these kind of OCDs and HOCDs and all kind of subsets of OCDs, and we go nuts and crazy and do weird things. That deficient design is the best that the universe can do. Obviously, there are other planets with life on them and less or more advanced in their biology, in their structure, and in their technology and everything else. I mean, it would be silly to think, no, we're just it. Really? If you're it, why we're so backward in most things? The universe is like what? God knows how many billions and billions and trillions of years in production and existence, and only this few thousand years could produce this. If the universe is that old, how come what's in it is only just what? Few thousand years? Us? What? A million? Animals? Well, how many million years animals came to be? It doesn't make sense. Of course there are other planets and other lives and other species and aliens and all that. To us they're aliens, but to them we're aliens. Chester, aloha Chester. Male 27 Hawaii, aloha Mehran, he says. Aloha to you, Chester. Hope you're doing good. I'm ready to learn from the wise man himself. Oh my goodness. Let me see, where is the wise man? I'm looking for him too, myself. And Peach, oh, what an interesting name. Peach says, hi Mehran. Hello, Peach. Let us know a little bit about you. Gender, age, where you're tuning in from. And Aman says, my friends always see me as someone cocky or narcissistic. I'm not sure, is it true or not? Why do you care what your friends see you as? What do you think you are? And do you need to change anything that you think would make a better version of you? That's the question. What if people outside of you, friends, whatnot, they like to see you as, I don't know, dog poop? Would that be something you would strive for because that's what they want to see you as? It's important, what is it that you think will advance you and you should be, and what makes you be the optimum and be as efficient as you can be? How can you be most helpful to the world and make changes in the world to better? It should be your role model for you to be. Not what your friends or people see you as. Are you a narcissist? If you are, change it. It's terrible. If you're not, then the hell with what they think. Who cares? You be as good as you can be. It says, but it becomes hard to talk with them about myself. It's like I'm only able to talk about them only. Yeah, well, you don't have to talk about yourself. When we talk about ourselves too much, people begin to think that, the light's supposed to shine on us only, and everybody wants to talk about themselves. So you just let them talk. You know who you are, and you don't need their affirmation. Why do you talk about yourself so much? Because you want them to have a certain image of you in their own mind. If you don't care about having an image, then you don't care about trying to convince people about who you are. You just be who you are. It's the easiest way. less pressure. Aman says, but yesterday my dad said to me that I'm not a cocky person. I didn't ask him about. He was telling me about something else, but then he said it suddenly. I try to be ultra sober with my friends. So I'm cocky, or the guys have wrong image of me whenever I talk with them. Well, it's a camaraderie some kind, or it's some kind of a competition between guys, especially young guys. They always want to say I'm better than you and I measure up and this and that, to have this kind of an echelon among the friends, so the friends would consider them as someone who should always be asked to be part of the team, part of the play. You know how it is, like you want to be participating in a soccer game and there are a bunch of you there, and because you've been seeing this coming and you wanted to be part of the team if ever a game is about to take place. So days before, you've been talking about, I don't know, I played this position in soccer with some people last year and we did this, we did that. You kind of boost yourself up to create a certain image of a good soccer player, so you'd be counted in. So it's like boasting about yourself, and that's okay. But don't think that you need it that much. Otherwise, you get caught on always trying to promote yourself. For who? For what? Just do. If you're a good soccer player, just play good. If they choose you, great. If they don't, it's their loss. A balance in there somewhere. Peach says female, 30, DC. DC mean Washington, DC, huh? Or what else could it be? DC. Well, I guess DC is the Washington, DC, USA. So I found out my ex dated 2 years, has been going to strip clubs, prostitution clubs while dating me. I dumped him for other reasons and just found this out. He was very sweet and gentleman, and I had no idea he went to these places. He went there when he was having dinner with the boys, and I feel stupid now for always saying have fun and being nice to these boys he went to with. Peach, what's your background? Like mom and dad background, cultural background. I know you're American, but everybody lives somewhere and from all other places. So I want to know a little bit about your parents and your upbringing, your background, religious, tradition, something. Where are the roots? And Peach adds, I feel so betrayed and disgusted. Help me. And also tell me when you broke up. When was this? Dated 2 years, but when did it end? Peach says, I feel like he wanted to keep me as a trophy wife. Were you married? Oh no, you were dating at home and go to those places to have extra fun. I'm so mad. Why are you mad? You got rid of him because he wasn't suitable. So this was one extra thing that it would have caused you to dump him if you knew about it. But you didn't need to know about this. There were enough things that caused you to break up with him. So good for you anyhow. The same ending. Now you want to say, no, I wanted to know It's like saying you found a murderer, he went through court system and got fair trial, and he was convicted beyond the shadow of the doubt that he killed 18 people. And then they like, let's say it's like 500 years ago, 300 years ago, and they say, okay, they hung him. Obviously, he was a killer, murderer, and he was convicted. And beyond the shadow of the doubt, it was proven that he was a murderer. And it was not self-defense, and it was cold-blood murder. So they hung him, 18 people. Now you say, I just found out that that son of a bitch killed 50 people. I'm so mad. Well, the ending was killing him, and he sees justice and be rid of him. And that was done, whether he killed 2 or 18 or 50. But you're saying I should have known it did that many more wrong things before we gave him the ultimate punishment. He got the ultimate punishment anyhow. So the fact that you just found out he's also responsible for killing another 32 people, it just means, well, we found out other things that he had done. That's all. There was no reason to be mad. You already got rid of him. The problem is solved. The murderer is found and taken to justice. You found out that the guy was not good enough in that relationship. Eventually you dumped him. You saved yourself and found your respect back, and you didn't get fooled further. And instead of now jubilation that, damn, I was good, I found out, I got rid of him, and now look, even there are more reasons. It wasn't like I didn't have enough reasons. I had enough reasons, but look, I was right, so right in my decision that, look, this guy was doing these sort of things too, which is disrespectful to me. I mean, I can understand that you might, end up with your friends, to have, I don't know, dinner, and then there's some striptease going on there. Well, that's if you're not really active in pursuing anybody who's actually stripping, and you're having your dinner and you're just watching the dance. Well, women love these things because women are the most beautiful thing in the world. And it happens in everywhere, in Japan, in Hawaii, whatnot, and people go for dinner, and there are strippers that are, it's like a music that they're performing. So they're performing that dance. I'm not condoning it or not condemning it, but I'm saying that's the extent of it. But it's not preferred by someone who is in a relationship, although it's something some people do, but it's not really that classy when you're in a relationship. What if this person was doing this before you met him, and he would tell you, look, I go here and there, and you would say, well, okay, don't go now that we're together. You wouldn't mind if it was before you, but you minded while he was with you. But you have no evidence that he was actually engaged in any, any intimacy with any of them. It's just sitting there and so on. I understand where you're coming from, and I agree with you that is not the way a relationship should be cultivating, while, it's such things to be cultivating while a relationship is going on. But it's one more thing that would have given you a reason to break up with him. Otherwise, you shouldn't be feeling mad or disrespected, while I can see your point clearly. It's disrespectful because he was with his friends. But if he was watching porn, you might have been okay with it, because pretty much that's less than watching porn. Hmm? It's like, look, I'm trying to make you see it in different light. That's my intention. It's like you're sitting in a sports bar and you're seeing games are being played while you're having your food, and then you might see a Miss Universe pageant being shown on the televisions hanging on the ceilings in the sports bar, or you might see a fashion show, a runway, and all these beautiful ladies and designs and all that. Or you might see some Playboy event in the mansion. They're in bikinis and water and all that. These are all acceptable, but when the context of striptease comes along, suddenly it becomes, why? Because it has its connotation, its introduction. But if it was labeled as pageant, about Playboy event in the palace or mansion, they were all justified culturally. But suddenly somebody sitting somewhere in a restaurant, and then there is a stripping, music, dancing on the TV, or in actuality live, then it becomes questionable, because the premises changes its designation. That's a place for that, not that it just happened to be on TV. You see what I'm trying to say is that it is not a reflection on you. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say. So you get mad. Why? Nothing changed in you. You're still as classy and valuable and respectful and respectable. Whatever was done by the guy, whatever these things were, it was a reflection on him, not reflection on you. But you are taking it as if that would have changed your respect. And you're saying, well, because these other people, other boys, knew that he's in a relationship, but it would diminish my values. I agree with you. But him and his friends, the lots of them, were all pretty much obviously didn't care, and you got rid of him. So why are you mad at him? It's like saying, I got rid of the guy, and then I'm still mad that the guy was doing what he was doing. Well, that's why you got rid of him. Now, there's another reason. I don't know if that's helpful to you or not, but I want you to look at it differently, not as a reflection on you, but as a reflection on him. And therefore, nothing come up for you at all, ever. Whether he wanted to keep you as a trophy wife and do these things or not, you botched the coup. You got rid of it. So you didn't allow that, what you think he was after, to become reality, that you become trophy wife, but he was doing these sort of things. But many men think that's like manly, because somehow they're not really maybe satisfied from themselves and their level of success or whatever. They try to do these sort of things to make them feel like, okay, I'm accomplishing something. I'm just like other men. Like, I'm successful, I'm doing something. That's a reflection on them, not you. All right. Anyhow, guys, remember, if what we're talking here is not enough, personal to person, it's not personal, because I can't get it more in a public event to get it more tuned for your situation. You can always go on my site, mind@seekstruth.com, mind@seekstruth.com. Take a look at the books that I've written, table of contents, and the sample chapter you can read, or you can book a time with me on Skype. Click on Talk to Mehran via Skype, or click on the Skype that is turning around on top right-hand corner of the page, and make an appointment for 1 hour, and then I will throw in another hour complimentary for the new clients. So we'll have 2 hours to hash out what's concerning you, one-on-one on Skype. And we have so we go to Chester. Chester says, Mehran, what are your thoughts about pornography and how it could lead to HOCD? I've heard people who's addicted to porn start watching more novelty videos that goes against their sexual orientation. No. They won't. I mean, people usually watch porn because they don't have enough sex. They don't have a girlfriend, or whatever. It's part of the need that every human being has is not just food and sleep and all that, also sex. And if you don't get enough of it or at all, then you try to imagine it, or you watch some porn or something, and to somehow, alleviate the pressure, or at least to feel that you are part of the gender that you are, and you want to see those or be involved in some kind in the activities that is suitable to your gender. So you watch porn. But that doesn't mean that you want to see more weird things, what's weird to you. Not necessarily. Because regardless of what, there would be a place where you say, shit, I don't want to see those sort of things. Whatever that could be. I don't know what it is. But to each person different. So you'll just see what you want to see, but you don't necessarily should increase it to, I don't know, more and more, or different, or this and that, so forth, so forth. And if you comes to your mind, you say, no, shit, I don't want to. That's enough. The regular is enough. Whatever it is that you turns you on, it gets to a point, you say, okay, I'm satisfied. I got something, and it was fun or whatever. But you don't have to necessarily allow it to go any further and further. You are in control. You can say, okay, I don't find it being any beneficial to me if I expand on different types or things that are not relevant to me. Why would I do that? Why am I nuts? Why would I want to watch a sex that is not my inclination? Why? You're supposed to protect your gender, your lifestyle, your values. You're supposed to have a gatekeeper that says what is within your values, what is not, in all tangents of life. Morality, in business ethics, in approach and proper behavior in the society, in sexual orientation and interests. Whatever is relevant to you, you have that in your value system, and that would be in your gatekeeper. Your wise advocate protects those values, and you don't make a decision to allow something that is not within your values to become part of your interests, because it's against your values. And what's not in line with your values, you're supposed to keep it out by choices that you make. So you keep yourself as what you would like it to be, not allowing it to go further. Even the brain conjures up ideas and suggestions, but you, the gatekeeper who has your values, protects your values by refusing to allow such suggestions to take any shape of actuality. So you're in control, rather than thinking that the brain suggestions are in control or have any right to guide you, where your gatekeeper and your value system clearly is set by you according to certain principles and limitations that is suitable to you, and anything further than that is meaningless and outside of the line of your values. And you're supposed to protect that what shapes you to be who you are, rather than allowing the brain to conjure up bullshit, or you follow what the brain suggestions are, because that's the one that betrays your values and tries to modify who you are, including your inclination, to through continuously being exposed to some things that you should choose not to be exposed based on your preference and your gender and your lifestyle and values, but you constantly put yourself in that kind of a environment. Why? That's your brain's effort, because it's irresponsible, it has no responsibility and no interest for you to be whatever it is that you want to be. It has no responsibility, it has nothing to lose. The brain is not you. Brain is not wisdom. Brain is not smart. Brain is not intelligent. Brain is a tool, is an apparatus. So what it conjures up something is not to your benefit. You are the one who chooses if what brain suggests is of any use or interest or value, or if it's in line with your values or not. Then you shun it, you diss it, you ignore it, and you go on and you do not comply with what the brain suggests, because brain is not you. You are the boss, not the brain. So you don't follow the brain, because then you're allowing the brain to create something that is not within your natural system. You're supposed to protect what you are and protect yourself and your values from things that are not interesting to you and shouldn't be interesting to you according to your decision and choices. There should be a mechanism of protection of who you are, what you're interested in, and your inclinations are. You can't just say, okay, I am this, but I constantly put myself in environments that are irrelevant to me and not interesting to me. Why? That creates a certain kind of a neuroplasticity that rewires your conditioning, that all these things, okay, it's like I don't know, you never, I don't know, eat frogs, but then you live among people who only eat frogs or lots of frogs all the time, and you see them all cooked and ready, and you begin to. It's not a problem. I have eaten frogs. It's like chicken. But we're not talking about eating. We're talking about using it as a metaphor for other things. So, or I don't know, tarantula or snakes. I mean, you're not accustomed to that, but you may find, if you keep putting yourself in an environment that is a normal thing, then suddenly you are not protecting your values. Indirectly, something is interfering with your values, and over time it becomes part of an accepted thing. That's what is happening to the unnecessary introduction of different kind of sexual lifestyle to all people at all ages, specifically children. When they still don't have an understanding of what is what, they're being bombarded by information that is too young for them. I mean, it's too old for them. They're too young for that kind of information to process it. What the hell is it that they're introducing all these different variations or choices to me? Why don't you let the children simply find themselves according to their nature without interfering and bombarding them with all these irrelevant information at their age? And that goes on with adults too. You constantly pump them with all kinds of things that is irrelevant to them or uninteresting to them. You're constantly trying to interfere and condition them to make something that they're not interested, it's not in their gatekeeper, it's not in their values, to become something that they would be okay with it to participate. I mean, it's one thing is okay to live in a society that everybody has different colors and they do what they want to do, and you're tolerant of it and you are respectful of all lifestyles, and that's what we are all about, human being living together on earth. But it's another thing that you actually are being encouraged and promoted to add to your own inclination something that it is irrelevant to you and meaningless to you and not interesting to you and not preferred by you. It's not part of you. You don't choose it and you're not interested in that. That's called interfering with your nature. No matter what your gender is, your nature should be your gender. I mean, your nature should be your nature, not something that is being promoted onto you to change something that you are and to something that you're not interested in. I hope you guys get the gist of it. All right. Chester, I hope that was helpful to you. Mahalo. Jeffrey says, thanks, Meran. I feel less nuts now, huh? Okay. And Luna says, how can my generation help or act to reverse these self-sabotaging ways that you so rightly speak of when it comes to gender roles, respect of self and each other, etc.? In my mind, these are all fundamental to our positive evaluation and growth as a people. What needs to be done or changed in order for us to reinstill mutual respect and goodwill on earth? It's a topic that worries me. I'm not quite sure if I get the question, so I kind of deal with it, refer to what I just explained. Perhaps that was the answer to your question. And the other thing is that one way to establish what you're referring or talking about is to leave each other alone. And I'm talking about not individuals, I'm talking about the media and politicians and so on, that they're using a certain group in order to get their votes and benefit economically and position themselves in such a way that they could benefit in one way or another. They promote certain things that needs not promoting. When you constantly come up and try to promote a certain sexual inclinations or lifestyles, it's because you're going to get votes from it and popularity to help you to reach whatever it is your agenda. But you pretend that you actually think that you care about that certain group in ways that other people don't care. And a minority group always would welcome these supportive talks while they're not really real. They're just talks for you to get your benefit, the politicians. It causes an unnatural interaction between the people because certain people say, why this other lifestyle is being promoted? Nobody is bothering anybody and nobody should, and everybody should respect each other and live as brothers and sisters, and their personal lifestyle is up to them, and we're all equal. But the fact that politicians and marketers, in order to sell something, they create a certain environment that they turn a certain group into a celebrity, and they encourage, indirectly they're encouraging, in fact directly they're encouraging a lifestyle to other people who are not interested in that lifestyle, but they're respectful to all other lifestyles. So that itself starts creating a resistance toward the same group that nobody has any objection to or any right to object to their lifestyle. But the extra attention, turning it into a celebrity, turning it into being in the in a spotlight by the companies who want to sell product, by the politicians, that extraordinary attention creates resistance of the concepts or of the lifestyle, which then creates deviation and division between us people who otherwise have no objection to each other's personal lifestyles and preferences in our own homes. So I find that leaving us alone, letting people respectfully live side by side and not be worried about each other's lifestyle and inclinations and putting that on the spotlight and talk about it all the times, it would be better to leave it alone and let everybody live the life that they like and they prefer with the people that they love and they prefer, but without constantly making it as something more special than the other people's lifestyles are. So leaving us alone, we would get along much better than constantly trying to putting some lifestyle in spotlight and trying to promote it while they think they're just being, I don't know, sympathetic or positive. There's no need. I mean, I'm as special as anybody else, and anybody else is as special as I am. My gender is as special as any other gender, and any other gender is as special as my gender. So what's the promotion here? What's the talk about it? If we learn to be respectful and equal in our interaction with each other and each other's lifestyles and preferences to be personal, if we can learn that, then what's the rest of it is necessary to constantly talk about it and bring it into programs on TVs and promote it? What for? That creates more division. But let us live. You know? We have learned to be civil and understand and respect each other's sexual inclinations and lifestyle. But what more do we expect? Celebrating each other's lifestyle is unnecessary. Celebrating our own lifestyle is unnecessary. Just live. Don't have to have a label. Don't have to ask. Don't have to be part of a group. That's just, everybody has the same rights and should be able to live their lives free from any trouble and any kind of expression of affirmation or not from others. We're all equal and we have the right to live the life that we want. That's the end of it. What's there so many hooplas about it? I mean, I can understand this Secretary's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, but I don't simply necessarily find it interesting to have heterosexual day, homosexual day, other kind of sexual days. That divides us, brings about divisions, rather than promoting equality of a human day. Why can't we just have a human day? Why does it have to be heterosexual? We don't have a heterosexual day anyhow. Why does it have to be homosexual day? Or this gender day? Or that? We are all equal, loving human beings and the same. Why don't we just have human day? All of us, brothers and sisters. Respect, tolerate, and protect each other. Doesn't matter what gender you are, or lifestyle and inclination you have. But the idea of these politicians and the companies and the marketing companies and whatever agenda that they have, they constantly bring these differences. That's counterproductive. That's what I think, at least. I don't know, Luna, if I answered the question. Lovely Lily says, Mehran, dear, you missed my question about I need you guys. I think I did answer it, Lovely Lily. Oh, I did, didn't I? Oh, here it is. Lovely Lily says, Mehran, I'm in a strange situation. I'm in love with my friend. He is too. He cares he cares about me, always with me in my every situation, morally. But when I ask about a marriage, he told me that I'm not much settled and don't know how much time it will take. So at this topic, he always behaves cold. This time I'm totally silent. Then he's still sending me morning and good night messages. I'm really confused. Stop answering him. And when he comes around and says, why are you not answering me? He says, because I want a commitment. We are hanging around each other, we're falling in love, and we're doing this and that. But are you going to marry me or not? What is it that you want with me? If I'm not good enough for you to marry me, why should we continue to be friends? It's going to be trouble for you when you find a woman that you love and you want to marry. And it's going to be trouble for me when, you find somebody that you're looking for. And so why don't we just cut it off right now? And you got to have some guts to do that. I don't care if you really mean it or not, but you got to do this. So you just ignore him and don't answer. And he comes and says, why are you not answering? He says, because I'm a woman and I have certain principles and I expect something to get somewhere, because I'm not going to live my life like a boat in the ocean with no direction and no propeller, no engine, and no nothing, no mandate. I want to know the trajectory. I want to know where it is, where the shore is, where I'm going to be able to have a foundation to build something. That's what I'm here in this world, to build something. What are you doing to build anything? Nothing. We're just hanging around. So I don't want to hang around anymore. Are you going to marry me or not? Simple. Don't beat behind the bushes. Because it's true. If he's not, you still want to be with him? No. Therefore, tell him. Give him a chance. If he doesn't comply, then that's it. Say, okay, don't call me. You gotta do this. And if you say, oh, well, then he's not gonna call me. Well, that's okay. You don't want somebody who just wanted, just hang around. Especially for your neck of the wood. It's not gonna be what you're looking for, right? So, point blank, say it. And then if he has any reason he doesn't want it, then he'll tell you. Or it will become apparent. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time. Unless you say, hey, look, I don't care to get married, just want to hang around it. Then that's different. That's your decision. But it doesn't seem to be that from your question, right? All right, where are we? Major paper. Major paper. Says, I'm currently, come on guys, what happened to the protocol, for heaven's sake? I need to know gender, age, where you're tuning in from before I read your questions. Major paper. No soup for you. I'm going to the next one until I get that few little info that I need. Gender, age, where you tuning. I need to know how old you are. If you're too young, if you should be here or shouldn't be here. Do you have your parents' consent? I got to know something. I got to know your gender, how to address you. Whatever your gender is. I got to know what your cultural background is, where you're tuning in from. That helps me to know how to formulate the words more properly. All right. Lovely Lily says, thank you, dear Mehran, for your wise suggestion. Major Paper says, sorry, Mehran, men, 25-year-old, Belgium. Ah, bonjour, comment ça va aujourd'hui? So, not men, man. How many are you? Major Paper says, I'm mixed South Asian and Arab. Aha. So, being in Belgium means you speak French, so Algerian, maybe Algerian, speaks French, possibly, and Asian mix. All right, welcome. I'll go back to your question, and thank you for that. All right, maybe I better slow down. This is going to be a long haul today. We've got lots of questions, and we've got lots of people here, and so if you guys don't mind, I'll just take a bit of a break sometimes by drinking a little tea, because I also get excited when I want to deliver, and so it should be pleasant for all of us. So therefore, we'll slow down a little bit. Where were we? Major Paper says, I'm currently recovering, male 25 Belgium. I'm currently recovering from OCD, but at the beginning I did not know that was OCD, so I had a little fight in my head before, simply ignore them. But feel like still need to recover more. Any advice? There's no need to recover. OCD is part of being a human being. It's not like you're sick. You just got to be aware of the mechanism and how this happens. And I've explained it. I don't know if it's the first time you're here or not, Major Paper. I've explained it in many of my videos, especially since March. I have put an extraordinary effort in opening up HOCD and OCD subsets, specifically HOCD, which is hitting almost everybody in the world. You're not alone. You're not the only one who has intrusive thoughts. Everybody and their aunt and uncle has intrusive thoughts of all kinds. Harming someone, killing someone, pedophilia, raping someone, homosexual OCD if you're heterosexual, or heterosexual OCD if you're homosexual. Depending on whatever it is, there are all kind of intrusive thoughts that every single human being on earth has it. 94.7% of the people in the world have intrusive thoughts. The other 5-6%, they have it. They're either lying or they haven't come to notice it. They just don't know that it's intrusive thought. They just say, what the hell is it? The difference is that in most people, intrusive thought comes and says, oh, what is that? And then you get over it, because caudate nucleus in the center of the brain, part of the striatum, it does its automatic function and shuts down the intrusive thoughts after you've recognized it, that it's intrusive and it's a bad thought. And because your inner system is all connected and knows about your gender, knows about your preferences, knows about your inclination, knows about your moralities, knows about your everything that you have put in your gatekeeper as your values, it knows about it, genetically knows about it. Therefore, it based on that, it shuts down intrusive thoughts that are annoying and that are not of your interest. But when it goes wrong and when it goes malfunctioning, caudate nucleus doesn't do its job automatically as it is designed to shut down the intrusive thoughts that are not within your value system or that are contrary of your gender and sexual preference and inclination. When it malfunctions, then it lingers. When it lingers and it doesn't shut off, it's just hanging on that picture. It's like it's like a recording, the old turntable recordings that get stuck. The needle keeps repeating, same tone, because this automatic system doesn't advance it to get over that groove, and that's it. You hear it once and you decide, oh, that's obnoxious, and that's it. Or like a video that is stuck on its screen, it doesn't move forward. It happens, especially in electrical systems, which our brain is. It happens a lot more than mechanical systems. One way or another. So anyhow, it happens a lot in our brain style system that it doesn't automatically work. Then your behavior toward that intrusive thought will help to rewire the brain, to recondition it, to show it, to teach it again that, hey, I'm not interested in these sort of things. Don't keep making them. And when you constantly ignore these sort of intrusive thoughts rather than engaging in it and interacting in it, trying to prove to it that I'm not interested in that, that's opposite of what my interest is. Why is it here? You shouldn't bring these thoughts. When you don't do these things and just ignore it, the brain starts seeing the signals while they're not automatic, but they are manually guiding it to see that I'm not interested in this nonsense. Therefore, it sees there is no engagement, there is no interest, there is no data hunting, there is no debate, there is nobody's trying to prove to the brain, to the thought, that this is not of my interest. That energy exchange is not there, therefore it kind of falls flat on its production, the brain. Like it's created these intrusive thoughts, but there's nobody paying attention to it. So it learns that these sort of thoughts are not entertained here. It has no value here. And because it has no value here, it doesn't keep the brain involved, which the brain is looking for that involvement. That's why it's creating intrusive thoughts in order to get a rise out of you. And while it's thinking it's doing its job to protect you, to alert you from some possible dangers here and there, but in fact is also trying to create security for itself through thinking, through occupation, through getting engaged in some debate, in some back and forth exchange. That's the purpose of the brain, to create all these negative thoughts, because through negative thoughts, it gets a reaction from you. If it's a positive thought, according to your preferences, it doesn't have a continuous interaction or debate with it. You enjoy it, say, yeah, that's a good thought. I love women, and oh, she's gorgeous, and that's it. And it's all pleasant. There is no reaction or resistance for the brain who has created these intrusive thoughts to get energy from it, to get engaged, to have a back and forth debate, data hunting. And that is what creates busyness, occupation, production of thoughts, which leads to security for brain. Because brain doesn't find security as your body finds security. Your body finds its security when it knows it's here physically, sitting here, closed apartment, in the good part of town. That's the security that needs physicality. My physical being gets secured through physical environment and physicality, physical safety. But my brain doesn't find safety through physical environment. It finds its safety through mechanical process, through order, which the order comes through occupation, being occupied, doing things. And because you may not have things to do, and brain doesn't necessarily is being used by you all the time to give it mandate to read something, learn something, design something, figure out something, or write something, or create something. So when you don't use it, it still needs to feel secure, and it can only find security through occupation, to do something. So it goes out and tries to find things. What? Things that would bring resistance in you, things that would bring anxiety and fear in you, because it wants to alert you, brings security to you by suggesting dangers to you, so you become alert and aware, and that's it's doing its job. At the same time is looking to secure itself, which is through doing something. And that doing something, since you're not giving it any mandate all the time and you're done with it, you're just sitting and having your tea or daydreaming, it comes up with some kind of intrusive thoughts, because that gets your attention, your reaction, exchange of energy, and then it feels occupied by debating, calculating all these sort of things, and going to the ends of the possibilities of all these negativities and dangers, and all that creates through that anxiety and fear and occupation, brain finds security. That is why brain is always inclined towards negative thoughts, because it is the negative thoughts that brings reaction and continued interaction and involvement and production. Otherwise, whatever it conjures up, if it's pleasant, it ends, dies right away. Thank you very much. It sounds good, feels good, and there's no debate on it. And if there's no debate on it, there's no occupation in the brain. There's no occupation, the brain doesn't feel safe. Because the brain is really scaredy cat. It needs to be busy, not to be afraid. So it conjures up all these different thoughts. And if caudate nucleus has gone malfunctioning, then bloody hell, whatever it makes, it sticks in there, and it could be of any topics. And if it's going to be a sexual topic, and it's going to be definitely opposite of what you are, because that's how HOCD works. It always attacks you with the suggestions and ideas that are opposite of your gender, something that you're not. Whatever HOCD shows up, you are actually opposite of what it suggests. If you never knew what your gender is, you can figure it out by the type of HOCD that attacks you. Whatever it attacks you with, you're opposite of that. That's how it works. Otherwise, there would be no conflict. And it lives on conflict. HOCD is a conflict, contradictory to what you are. That's why it's uncomfortable. That's why it's negative. That's why it's nuisance, annoying. Otherwise, if it was you, you wouldn't be annoyed. You wouldn't object to it. But it's looking for objections. And that's what the activity of the brain is why it works the way it does. So when caudate nucleus malfunctions, then it lingers. And when it lingers, you being more stupid than the brain, you think, oh, brain is intelligent, is smart. So if it's lingering in my head, some idea and suggestion, it must mean I am that. No, it means it's a malfunction. What if the idea that your shit is going to be hanging around there, that doesn't shut down, doesn't go away? Are you going to think that you're shit? You're not, are you? Because that's so clear to you, there's no question. Obviously, I'm not a poo. But because what it suggests is among different types of sexuality that exists in the world, then you get confused and you think, oh, maybe there is something to it. But because there is nobody on earth that is actually made out of shit, literally, that loves to eat shit, like you can't find it. It's not on the news. You have not seen it. It's not been suggested. It's not been put on TV as a program that this person eats shit to live. If that is not an idea that is accepted or exists out there, it hasn't come to your brain, to your memory, to your consciousness as an idea, hasn't seeped through as a knowledge or information. And if it hasn't, then when it comes to your mind, it's totally rejected with or without caudate nucleus. Whether it's functioning or malfunctioning, it just doesn't stick, because it's simply it's out of possibilities for you, because your brain hasn't been constantly bombarded by, oh, so and so in Denmark has been eating shit, and today in Japan they're eating shit. None of that exists. So therefore, you, whether its automatic system works or not, signaling system works properly or not, you simply have the ability to simply let that fall by the wayside without any attention. But because the other sexual inclinations and lifestyles are constantly on TV programs and being bombarded on billboards and objectifying a man's body and all that so forth, then the possibility of that existence in the world is already proven that it exists. So when it hits your brain and lingers, when the signaling system of the caudate nucleus, it doesn't work properly, then you start being confused that, oh, maybe I am. Because it has possibilities out in the open in the world that sort of lifestyle exists. Even though you're totally have nothing to do with it, it's irrelevant to you, but because of the existence of it in the world and that information having seeped through your consciousness, you get confused because that caudate nucleus doesn't automatically shut down these sort of intrusive thoughts, which is against your gender, opposite of your interest or inclination, but it's not working as it always did, that system. So it lingers, that suggestion. When it lingers, you get confused. But there are so many other things that could come to your mind and you don't get confused. Because simply it's not part of the normal thing that is happening out there, possibilities that is happening out there. If you look at it that way, then you will see that your behavior toward a suggestion, thought, or images is helpful in rewiring your brain, which is malfunctioning in its ability to shut down these intrusive thoughts, and clicks this system back on after a while. And even if it doesn't, your behavior reconditions your reactions, and therefore you won't be bothered by it because you know it's irrelevant to you. That's 100% settled in your value system, and you're aware of it, and you then guide your life based on your value system by your manually reacting to it the way you would react if the caudate nucleus was still working properly. So with that continuation of behavior toward these thoughts, you rewire your brain, and then eventually you will not have a problem with it. They will not show up as much, as often, or at all, and the caudate nucleus clicks back into function. And even if it doesn't and comes back on and off, you will always know what it is. It's intrusive thoughts. It's not me. It's the brain. It's not me. It's HOCD. It's not me. It's OCD. It's not me. You say it this way, you recognize it this way, and then simply you know what to do with it, and it won't bother you because it will be like a static, not as treated as like, oh, that's real meaningful thing. No, it's nothing meaningful, and you'll recognize it. When you recognize it, then knowledge will set you free, and it won't let you be affected. Hopefully that was helpful to you. Who was it? Major paper. Jeffrey says, I feel upset. My girlfriend may have dumped me because I am a loser. And I keep visualize her telling all her family and friends my ex was a loser. Okay, so what? She says that. Even if you were a loser or you are a loser, you can always change your stars. Because you're in command. You change your life. Turn your life around. Don't become a loser, or don't be a loser. Don't continue being a loser if you think you're a loser. But really, you're not a loser. If you were a loser, you wouldn't be born into this earth, into this life. To begin with, for heaven's sake, your mom and dad did a little hanky-panky, and 300 million sperms were created. And you were the only one who won that race. So how can you be a loser? To begin with, you're a winner. Now, whoever thinks of you the way they do, well, maybe you make this mistake or that mistake, or maybe they have a point, or maybe they don't have a point. They're just full of shit, and they accuse you of these sort of things. Who cares what they think? What's important is what is right, what is not. If you think you're a loser, then change it. Do things that you will no longer be loser. Nobody will have a chance to call you that. If you think you're not, then the hell with it. Who cares what they say? And look, there is not just one girl in life. If she thought you're a loser, go and do whatever it is that you want to accomplish, and then offer it to another girl who's going to see you the way you are and the way you like her to see you, and there would be no such thoughts of being a loser because that other girl was thinking that way. Who cares about that other girl? You want to find a girl who thinks you're who you are and as wonderful as you are, and the way that you sculpture yourself and you accomplish yourself. And that's the one. So you prepare yourself for another woman. She wasn't the only woman. Who cares what she thinks? I mean, remember, if this wheel doesn't turn for me, I don't care if it turns at all. If she is not for you, then what do you care what she says? Her opinion shouldn't even matter to you. And Jeff Mail 33 Toronto, thank you for that. Peach says I'm Asian, okay. And Peach says they are Chinese. Who is they? Oh, those people? Ah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Don't worry about it. It's just some cultural thing that makes them feel manly to go to all these strip places and all that and feel like a movie stuff. Bullshit. Do your thing. Peach says, I know a lot of guys my culture go to those shady places, but I can't stop feeling disgusted and betrayed. Was I not too good enough? Nah, good enough. Of course you're good enough. It's not about you being good enough or not. It's about them that they're not actually, content to their relationship or think that makes them feel, they're really manly because they're doing what their parents did or what their generation did or what they're in the movies they do. Oh, I'm watching a strip while I'm having. That's really manly. Well, in a way it is, but not all the time. It's good for their ego. That's what they're doing. It doesn't take anything away from you, for heaven's sake. Because everybody has it's like saying, okay, I see this lady and then I see another woman. Are they both the same? No, this is a lady. That's just not a lady, because the way she behaves and lives or does what she does and manners, morals, whatnot, does not put her in the category of a lady. She is a respectful human being and has the right to enjoy every other benefits of the law and everything else society has to offer. But she is not considered a lady because of the way she behaves and talks and treats herself and the others, or expect others to treat her. But this one is. So the same thing. You are who you are, and those people are strippers. That doesn't mean because they're strippers that takes away from you. What they do is reflection on them. What you do is reflection on you. And what your boyfriend did is reflection on him, not on you. So don't mix them up. Just because you think they're disgusting, they're not disgusting. You just think that they are a distraction or a competition to your intentions towards your boyfriend. But it's a reflection on the boyfriend that is not understanding or thinking that he needs to do that every day to feel good about himself. That's his problem. That doesn't take anything away from you. And those ladies who are stripping, well, that's their lifestyle. So doesn't take anything away from you. But the fact that you had lots of things wrong with this guy and you dumped him, and then this is one more thing that you disapprove of, that's all you should be focusing on, rather than anything else. And don't think about, was I not good enough? Well, you're comparing yourself with the people who are stripping. It's just that you have a relationship with this person is having sitting there to feel certain pleasure of whatever it is. There's two different things. It's like different activities. You can't compare yourself that they're there for the same reason that the guy was having a relationship with you. Although I don't condone it, but I'm saying you shouldn't look at it that that is a measuring stick of you being good enough or not, depending on what the boyfriend does or doesn't do. It's her problem, not yours. I mean, his problem, not yours. Why did he go there if I was good? Oh, come on now. Men look at porno, men look at other women in the street, men look at striptease, but that doesn't mean that the people that the girls, the women that they're paying attention to in the street or in the movie or whatnot, that means they're better than you, because the attention of theirs is setting your value up or down. Who cares what they're paying attention to? Your value comes from you. However you prefer, whatever you've made out of yourself, what you have accomplished in life, you shouldn't be waiting around to see what people's opinion or attention is directed towards and then use that as a gauge to your worth and value. What kind of a competition are you creating for what? And Peach says, and no wonder he seemed like he wasn't having fun with me because I was not exotic enough. I'm right there. No, you're not right. You're just thinking that his preference or his shortcomings sets a value for you. No, not at all. If it was all physical, then nobody would be any better than the other. There's always prettier girls around. There's always more exotic girls around. But you're not having a relationship with exoticism. You're having a relationship with the consciousness of each other. Otherwise, there's so many pretty people, handsome men and good-looking girls, but they still get divorced or get a breakup. So how come? The guy was good-looking, the girl was pretty. So how come because the relationship is not between pretty or good-looking. Relationship is far beyond that. So you can't be comparing yourself because somebody is prettier or more exotic than you means is better than you or more qualified to be in a relationship with the same idiot that you're having a relationship with. That's you're not being objective. You're not really looking at it properly. No, not at all. Nobody can switch your values up or down just because of what they're interested or not interested in. You're a human being, not just a physical body. And people don't have relationship with physical body for too long. If that was the beginning of the motivation of getting to know each other, maybe, but then after a few months, then no longer is the looks that is keeping the relationship together. As I said, many movie stars are really good looking or pretty, but they don't last long when they get married. Why? Because the relationship is not bonding basis on physical attributes only. There's a lot more to it. No, I don't think that he went to those places and hooked up. Even if it hooked up, then you're luck that you broke up with him, because you don't want to be in a relationship with a guy who constantly goes to these prostitutions or strip joints and then hooks up with you. By the way, the people who are doing a strip joints, work in the strip joints, they're not prostitutes. They're stripping, but that doesn't mean that they will be available for the patrons or people who are there having dinner. It's just their job. They do their dancing. Otherwise, what's that? I don't know what the situation is there, but that's what my take is on that. Yeah, maybe he was. Who cares? But the point is, you're not with the guy and you remedied it by dumping. That's it. So the rest of it doesn't matter. It's like you dump someone because he's a murderer, and then you say, "Oh, I'm so mad that he was a murderer." Well, people are of different kind, and you find the guy was a murderer, then is chased by the law, and you disapprove. Of course, you dump him. You move away. You can't say, "Well, I'm angry that he was this." Well, he was, but then you remedied it. You got away from that situation. So that's what you should be boasting about. Your decision was correct. Wine Love says, "Hi again, sir. I'm back this week. Wanted to ask you for wisdom, smartest man I know, for some suggestions." Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Okay, I take a short break, guys, because I know there's a big question coming. Aman says, I had enough and feeling, I had thoughts and feelings that I'm romantically attracted to my friend because I used to talk with him daily. I know it's HOCD. So when it was bugging me lots, I started to think about doing everything my thoughts and the feeling were. But suddenly the feelings disappeared and my feelings get back as I used to think about the boy, same as before HOCD. Do I do it for everything in my HOCD? I don't understand. No, HOCD is like that, comes and goes. So when it goes, then you're automatically taking care of the things, and no intrusive thoughts is lingering uh, as when you have HOCD. And when the HOCD comes back, the intrusive thoughts linger. But remember, these sort of feelings are not because you're homosexual or you have interest in the same sex, as you said, with your friends and all that. It often starts as an intrusive thought, not because you have any interest in the same sex at all. You're a good person. Many kids are great people, great persons, and they want to. Human being men want to bond with other men as friends. That's what we are. We get friends and we find things in common and we bond with other male as friends. That's what we human beings do. But when you are a nice person, and today there's so many sick and stupid and fearful and low lives who are not as find themselves as valuable as you as being a good person in schools, and you don't get to bond with any of them because they don't represent themselves properly, that and they are mean or they are bullying or they are weak and try to put you down in order to feel good about themselves because they're incapable of naturally feeling good about themselves because they're not good people or they have not been raised well or been taken care of in their own families. So they have these complexes. So they create a negative situations for other kids in the school. And so this other kid, like yourself, they won't have friends enough to bond with, and they feel alone, but they feel they want to be accepted by other male as we male want to be bonded with other friends. This is how we human beings do, but they won't have that chance in school or high school because they're assholes around and they maybe bully with inappropriate names, and they they create that kind of a negative atmosphere. So the bonding, as it's natural to take place, they won't have the chance to have a bunch of friends. So when they grow up and they're growing up, any attention that they get from another male would represent a pleasant welcoming. And this welcoming feeling makes a question in their mind, oh, is it a homosexual interest I have towards this friend? No, it's a normal feeling any male has when they have friends and they want to bond with that other male as a friend. And when they haven't had that chance in school or high school or university or whatever, they will have that interest to, and the attention of other male becomes interesting to them, and that's a normal thing. But they conjure up negative thoughts about it, and they consider that mistakenly as, oh, does that mean I'm a homosexual? I've been living in denial because I like this attention of this person to me, this friend to me. I'm happy to see him. These are all normal. But because you've been denied from that natural bonding in the school and so on because of the idiots and assholes around, now you are interested and notice all these emotions toward other friends or other attention that other male pay, and they could have, who knows, maybe they could have homosexual interest, but you take it as a good attention that you've been lacking in bonding with other male as you grow up, and then you negative thoughts and intrusive thoughts enter into your mind that, oh, does that mean that my interest shows or implies that I'm homosexual? This, no, not at all. You are actually normally reacting to what you would have reacted in high school and so on, as everybody does. But now this other person might actually be homosexual, but you are thinking that this interest is more than a normal natural interest that the male has to bond with other male. Like all animals have this bonding, but it's not sexual, it's natural. And what the intention of the person is paying attention to you or not, who knows? But your interest and interest in that attention that you're receiving is not homosexual interest, is male bonding interest for friendship, which is a natural and normal. Every one of us have that. But nowadays, it's so much talk about this whole connotation of these attentions and male bonding and friendship and relationship, that the natural thing that happens to all of us boys when we're growing up to want to be friends, and we are friends. And in olden times, there was no such questions. We were friends, pal, hanging on each other's neck and walking away and talking about things and all kinds of things, school, girls, this and that. And it was a bonding. There was no question about it. But now, if guys are interested in the natural way that any male is interested in the other male as a species, as a just the natural way as every animal is interested in being with their own kind, then you interpret, oh, because it's been introduced in the society that this is that, then there's a conclusion, there's a label to it, and that label triggers the idea that, oh, maybe my interest to this other males is homosexual. No, it's just the way we boys are. We bond with other men because we're friends, and that's how it is. That's how it's always been. But now there's a label to it, and that interferes with the natural process of growing up and all that, and brings intrusive thoughts and so on that is totally inappropriate and not necessary and irrelevant. That simply is irrelevant, meaningless. But you give it a meaning because the society has given it a meaning other than what it is. So be aware of that, and then you will not take it as anything other than what it is. Bonding with other male, which is a natural, normal behavior of boys growing up and all through our lives. Wine Love says, I'm really ambitious and want to many another ambitious and want to what? Many another ambitious man. I work for a law firm in LA, and my most recent ex could not give me the future I wanted and not ambitious enough or smart enough to help. Wine Love, did you tell me about your protocol? Because I don't see it here and I don't remember. I know you've been here before, but I just want to make sure. You're a woman, are you? That's what I'm getting from your... Let me know if you, the protocol, because I don't know. All right. Wylove says that ambitious are smart enough to help me advance. Did I make the right decision for breaking up? I regret sometimes I'm still single and was wondering, how do I meet another man who is what I'm looking for, or will it just be a dream? Thanks. Well, it depends on what you want from your relationship. You want someone to give you a leg up, make you successful in a career that you're responsible for, or you want a man to be in a relationship with based on his credentials and his um, way of treating you, bonding unconsciously, his compatibility with you, his characteristics and persona. What is it that you want from a relationship? If you say that you want someone who, among all other characteristics that you expect, would also be ambitious in order to be financially successful in life, well, that's your prerogative and your preference, and that's then you look for someone who you can see it has that in him. Otherwise, and if that was the only reason you broke up with him, maybe that is the most important part of the expectations and the standards that you have for someone to be in a relationship with, and that's your decision. There's nothing right or wrong about it, and it's not about a dream. But remember, if you want someone ambitious and someone that meet your criteria, why don't you become ambitious yourself and be productive and accomplish things that you want to accomplish in you, and then you will naturally attract that kind of a person. Because, and if you didn't, you would be the one who would create the kind of lifestyle that you expect somebody else to help you to succeed in. You be the engine behind your own success and your own advancement, rather than waiting for somebody else to come and give you a leg up or pull you up or something like that. Be your own engine, and then you wouldn't be choosing or refusing people based on their ability to help you, but based on the character and the persona that they have, and what on mental and energy level and qualification basis and more moral basis, moralities, if they meet your standards or not. That's how you will then choose your relationships, rather than focusing on that one thing that most may not have. So you just create that for yourself, on yourself, by yourself, instead of expecting that to be a criteria of a qualified person that you want to be in a relationship with. Jeffrey says, crazy coincidence, Mehran. Actually have an article here on youth information behavior, and oddly enough, gatekeeper is a term used a lot in library and information science. Well, yeah, gatekeeper is also, I call it super consciousness, core principles. But Dr. Philipson, one of the world-known psychotherapists and clinical psychologists, calls it gatekeeper, the values that are relevant to you. And Dr. Schwartz calls it wise advocate. I call it the super consciousness, that these are core principles, your values, the relevant values to you, that is already sacred, and it's protected, supposed to be, should be protected by you, for you, within you, and guide you based on those principles that you have in your gatekeeper, wise advocate, super consciousness. User 22 says, hello, Mehran. Hello, User 22. Please don't forget the protocol. And Petit Man says, hello. Hello, Petit Man. How are you? You haven't been around for a while. Majid says, hello, Mr. Mehran. Hello, Majid. How are you? Majid, I think, what, 31? UK? Am I right? Do I remember right? Majid says, AKA the Guru. Okay. Yeah, I don't know about that. And Zadkil says, 27, male, Sweden, ex of 3 years now, returned to social media after a long absence with Corona and being home. It's impossible for me to not check her social media. I do this daily as OCD. What can I do? Well, that's the only thing you can do with OCD, is to let the anxiety level go up, but don't do the compulsion. In other words, you have an OCD obsession to check the Facebook for her as social media. And if you don't do that as a compulsion, when you check that's a compulsion, if you don't do it, the anxiety level goes up. Let the anxiety go up and don't do it. And you will see that you will not die because you didn't check the social media. And then next time, and eventually after a while, a few hours pass and so on, you resisted the whole day, you didn't do it. And then it becomes easier not doing it. But if you keep doing it, then you're actually rewiring yourself through neuroplasticity because you keep doing it and you become good at doing it, not good at not doing it, which is what you really want to achieve. But by keep doing, it's like you keep practicing piano. It says, I don't want to be good at playing piano, but you keep practicing. Well, stop practicing, then you'll stop being good at it. And same thing here. You keep checking because you have OCD, and then you say, oh, whatever excuse you give it, and you say, why am I still so hung up on checking on it? Because you, through neuroplasticity, you're bringing this conditioning to make it a habit. And when it becomes a habit, which it has, it becomes difficult for you to get rid of it as easily as you could earlier on. Now it's not too late. You simply understand that it's not good for your well-being, for your health, for your natural balance. With that in mind, have that encourage you not to check and allow the anxiety level go up because you're not doing the compulsion, which is checking. And then after a while, you will be a little bit easier for you not to do it. And you gradually increase it from 1 day to 2 days. And then from 2 days to another 2 days. And so on and so forth. And after a while, you see a week pass where you didn't even care. Why? Because you get focused on life rather than getting focused on some useless thing. Or check, okay, what is she doing? She's sticking her finger in the nose. Okay, fine. What is she? Oh, she's having tea. Okay. Big deal. Devalue things that are not value important, and then you'll be fine. But you keep giving it value, then you still think, oh, it's valuable, I should do it. It's your own conditioning that you constantly keep doing it that kill. And as long as you keep doing it, you'll be suffering from the same thing. Luna says, yes, you have helped me to understand this issue better. Shukran. You're quite welcome. And Nick says that kill, that doesn't even should. That's not good. Lovely Lily says, thanks dear Mehran for your wise suggestion. You're quite welcome. Major Pepper says, sorry Mehran, male, men to, okay, got that. Okay. Major Pepper says, that's right, so, okay. Nick says, hey Mehran, 20-year-old man from Florida. What are your thoughts on psychedelic use like psilocybin mushrooms in order to break the thought cycle? Look, if you're going to be using some kind of a substance to break some kind of a thought cycle, then you got to be constantly doing that. What's best is to deal with it correctly so you won't be dependent on that. Right now, you're dependent on the intrusive thoughts. No? You want to kick this out, but then be dependent on something else that gets the intrusive thoughts away momentarily, rather than you being able to. It's like you rent a bicycle, and after the rental is over, you still don't have a bicycle. You still have to walk. What are you going to do then? Why don't you build a bicycle? Buy a bicycle. So you saying that, I get a mushroom of some kind to break this intrusive thoughts, but you're not in control because you got to have a mushroom every time you want to break these intrusive thoughts. What good is that? You want to be independent, which means you got to be able to deal with things that is challenging you rather than masking it or redirecting it. It's like saying somebody yelling out at you, hey, what you doing? At that moment, the intrusive thoughts are gone. You're saying, what's going on there? Because there's something else you got to pay attention to. But as long as when that person stops yelling at you, again, the intrusive thought, well, what's good is that? You constantly got to have somebody distracting you, yelling at you, hey, you, hey, asshole, hey, what? And you can't have that 24 hours a day. So you got to do that without these kind of shits. Yeah, okay, well, you drink to pass out. Oh yeah, then I used drinking and that stopped the intrusive thoughts. Why? Because I was passed out. That's not a remedy. I use drugs so I can't really understand where my toes and nose are. That's a remedy. No, it's not a remedy. That's being addicted to some shit. And having it has its own effect on you. So, Nick, no. Yeah, you'll constantly see the research that you want to see because you think that's easier than what is within your powers. I want you to be the leader of you, in control of your faculties, that you can command what your choices are. Not that you have to rely on something else in order to get something else out of the way. And you are just watching and letting this something else control you. And now that something else that you're choosing to get rid of this is going to be a controlling factor. That's bullshit. All right. Hope you got that, Nick. And Peter, 37 UK, says, suffer from OCD and HOCD. My girlfriend has been promoted and will be leaving to live in Malta. I'm concerned if my OCD thoughts will make this hard situation of separation even worse for me. Well, listen, OCD is something that almost everybody on earth has one kind of another of it. And everybody on earth has intrusive thoughts. But when things are malfunctioning, that becomes controlling factor in your life, which you're supposed to, through knowledge, learn what it is, and then learn not to pay fucking attention to things that don't deserve your attention. Because we are creatures that have capability of paying attention to things. And whatever that calls our name, we pay attention. Whatever shows in front of us, we can see it. We have the ability to see it. Whatever is played, we have the ability to hear it. But being able to not pay attention to what's being played out and focus on the music that you want to hear, that's the ticket. There's so many things out there for you to see, but being able to direct your eyes towards something that you prefer to see while these other things exist as well, but you don't pay attention, that's the ticket. The intrusive thoughts and OCD and all that is, again, trying to take your attention by commanding certain behavior and reactions. When you learn through knowledge, put your attention on something else, some things that are relevant to you, that are meaningful to you, that are positive for your advancement and your activity in life. Then you have got it all figured out, whether carotid nucleus or automatic signaling system works properly or not. You become above all these systems because you have a choice. No intrusive thoughts can actually harm you because by themselves they're nothing. They are just suggestions, images, thoughts, and they don't even exist. They don't have existence. They have no substance. You cannot be threatened by idea unless you believe in that idea for no goddamn reason, because it has no truth or credibility to it. But we have this malfunction in our brains that when we believe something, we somehow don't ask for evidence or any kind of a credibility. We just believed it because we're afraid if we don't believe it, it might be true. What the fuck is that? You have choice. You're above thoughts. You're above brain. Brain was added to you. Thought is a production of the brain that was added to you, which is a servant of you, an apparatus, a tool, an equipment. It's not beyond you. You are beyond all these. You have choices. Unless you command, unless you direct, you give the order, no thoughts or production of a brain can ever become an actuality or affect you in reality, in life. It is just an idea. Poof, disappears if you simply turn your head away from it. Don't pay attention to it. It's like saying, oh, shut up, fuck off. That's it. because you are the boss. But you somehow have been duped to think the brain has been the boss of your life. No, the brain has been learning from things outside, information and so on, and conjuring up thoughts. No other power it has. It's very powerful to make you believe some shit, but doesn't have a power whatsoever to turn any suggestion or thoughts or images into actuality. You and only you have that power. You have choices. You choose something to pay attention to. You choose to not to pay attention to the other thing. You can turn and allow a thought to become an action through your behavior and your activity and bring it to action to give it actuality and reality, and you can choose to command, not pay attention to it, not to do anything. It will never become anything to threat you to become an actuality on its own. Ever. It doesn't have that power, regardless of how powerful the brain is. For you to understand how powerful the brain is and how important it is for you to understand the abilities, capabilities, and limitations of brain, and understand how powerful it is, and the fact that this power, if it's trained and tamed, it can help you to succeed in life. And if you don't, this very power can also work against you when the brain goes wrong. It's like you are riding a horse that you know how to communicate with it, how to train it, and it will be listening to your commands and communication, and it will take you where you want to go, jumps over the fences that you want to jump, and takes you to the destination that you want to go. Or the same horse, when you don't understand how to train it or communicate with it and to be in command of it, takes over, has its own brain, and goes to places that you never ever wanted to show up or see it, into the gutters, because the horse is very powerful. And the brain is very powerful, but you are the boss of it. You got to remember how to treat it and train it and diss it and ignore it when it's necessary, and how to pay attention to it when it's necessary, to use it to have it work for you. And remember, you are in command because you have choice. It doesn't matter what the brain suggests, images, suggestion, thoughts, and ideas that show up or make you think you're this, you're that, your gender is not this, you've been living in denial, and all that, you're interested in this, you want to kiss the other guy, all that bullshit that shows up, all kind of images. You are in command and have a choice not to accept it and diss it and ignore it and focus on what it is that you are interested in. You have a choice to think about what you are, not what the brain tries to suggest at any time, no matter a million times or not. You think about what you are only, what you want to be, what you prefer, what you've always been, what you always wanted to be, what you always want to continue to be, and what you are, what your preferences are. That is your choice and your power. Regardless of the power of the brain, you have a bigger power, which is to allow the power of the brain to influence you, control you, or not. That's the real power. Having said that, I hope that helps you, Peter. Milton says, hey, Mehran, I just wanted to say that I am a huge fan and I try to direct as many of my community members to your channel. Thank you for that, Milton. Thank you for everything you do. You're a beautiful person. You saved me. My pleasure. I love you too, and I'm delighted that this channel has been helpful to you. And thank you for your kind words. Aman says, so praise and humiliation does not have relation with your life, which happening right now. That's what's said in my religion, which is Buddhism. Yeah, good. User 22 says, hello, everyone. Okay, always said that. Rishi says, nice lines. Okay. Steven says, hello, Mehran. Stephen, male 40, Los Angeles. Thank you for that. Petit Man says, I'm doing good. I have just been busy with exams and school. I miss your talks. Great. Good of you to be here. And thank you for that. I'm glad that you're doing good. Keep it up and do good at your exams. And I know, and I'm sure, I know you will do your best. And that's all that matters. And H. Lara says, hello, thank you for doing this and all the videos you put out. You deserve more views, but I'm glad you do it for your own enthusiasm and passion. You're quite welcome. But I also do it for views too. I like to see a lot more than 100 or 200 people who find what's going on. I mean, nobody is looking for this kind of information. And Stephen says, thank you, Mehran, for pointing out my OCD with always needing the reassurance. Yeah, you're welcome. And Merck says, hello. Hello, Merck. What about the protocol, guys? Everything I say falls on deaf ears. Zedkil says, thank you, Mehran. You're a real guru. Okay, fine. If I was a real guru, you wouldn't be in the deep shit that you still are. Just a hello from an old friend. That's all. You know the rest. And Vivi says, I sure do. That makes me angry and depressed. How do I deal? Thank you. You sure do? Where's the question? Vivi? I don't see a question. I just see the I sure do. I don't know what that is. Okay, guys. This has been 2 hours and 26 minutes and 28, 29, 30, 31 seconds and more. Counting. It looks like I answered all the questions. So it's time for me to say I love you all. Thank you very much for being here, giving me the opportunity to share a thing or two with you. Tonight at 9 o'clock Vancouver time, we will have maybe 8, I don't know, 8:30 or 9 o'clock. We'll have another live talks for Australia and Middle Eastern countries, Pakistan, India, Iran, Dubai, and all the other countries in that neck of the wood. And hope that you can join us if you're still up, but probably it would not be the right time for you. And we have Luna says she sent us a super chat. Thank you for that. It says we have £5 super chat. Says to say shukran for all the time and love you exude and the wisdom you share with us, Mehranjan. You're quite welcome, and I'm delighted that you enjoy it, and thank you very much for kind words and the super chat as well. And Vivi says that it's above. I sent 2 comments. Vivi, I do not see any comment from you. Otherwise, other than that's only one. I don't see it here at all. So anyhow, maybe tonight if you want to join us. I don't even know where you are, and so on. So, or maybe next week. So I love you all. Thank you very much for being here, giving the opportunity to share a thing or two with you, and I hope to see you again soon in our next live talk, which is 9 o'clock tonight, Vancouver time. And in the meantime, be good to yourself and to the others. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.